What's up, everybody? As you can see, this video is going to be about bandoliers, more specifically the U.S. military rifle ammunition bandoliers from 1909 to the present day. I see a lot of reenactors, a lot of World War II reenactors specifically, using the incorrect bandolier for the impression that they're doing. A lot of this, I think, has to do with lack of information at one spot. I mean, there's a lot of good spots for information for World War II bandoliers. So in a way, there kind of is no excuse for that to be using the wrong one for World War II reenacting. But I'm doing this to expand on it and touch on some of the other eras that bandoliers were used, and just to get that information out there, because it's like I said, there's not a whole lot of information out there about some of these, and you got to really do some digging on the specific bandoliers. So I'm presenting you with this info that I've found in hopes to educate people and help people hone in on accuracy for their impressions. Now, before I get into the meat and potatoes of the video, there's a few things I'd like to say about bandoliers as far as how they made it to the soldiers. Now, the bandolier was not an issue item, so to speak. Like, it wasn't issued along with your uniforms and your pistol belt or something like that. It wasn't like that at all. The bandolier was simply a means to issue the ammo to the individual, and it also doubled as a carrier in some cases. So as far as this is true for all the areas of the bandoliers I'm covering here, except World War One, but it's essentially the same thing. So this is what ammunition would come in. This is what it would be delivered to the field to the units. In cans like this. In World War One, it was probably a wooden crate, but in World War Two and today, they're issued in a can like this, and it makes its way to the unit, whatever unit is receiving it. They open it up, and this is what's in it. The cans are full of bandoliers. As you can see, they fit in perfectly. And they'll crack the can open, they'll start pulling out bandoliers and handing them out to guys. And that's how bandoliers make their way to the individual soldier. So they're not issued in basic training or reception or anything like that. They were issued out in the field with ammunition in them. So that's just something that I felt should be known about bandoliers before I go on to the specific models of bandoliers. This is what a bandolier is. Just getting that out there. So the first bandolier we're looking at is the M1909 or M1 bandolier. This particular model of bandolier replaced the M1903 bandolier, which that bandolier looked a lot like what you see here. However, it opened from the top, and the strap was a lot thicker, like wider, and it was marked with the type of ammunition on the exterior. This variant was introduced around 1909. As you can see, instead of it opening from the top, it now opens from the side. And it is unmarked. And because of that, it comes with a lock card like this. This is a later example, but it's still the same thing in the fact as far as the information that it includes. Now this would tell you the type of ammunition that is contained in the bandolier, where it's manufactured, and the lot number and all of that business. This was essentially so if any of the ammunition was faulty, they could trace the ammunition back to the lot and the uh, um, the manufacturing facility, basically just so that they could uh, carry out more quality control and make sure they're not uh, all the ammunition they're getting out is good to use. The M1909 bandolier at this time was used to deliver and carry government 30 caliber ammunition in its 6 pockets. The World War I era bandoliers are identifiable by a heavier fabric, a pinkish khaki color, and they would be delivered to the field with 2 5-round stripper clips of 30 caliber and a cardboard insert in each pocket. After World War I, in the interwar phase, the interwar era, bandoliers were changed to a thinner cotton fabric rather than the thicker fabric that they were in the early days. In the late 1930s, and in 1936, the M1 was adopted by the U.S. military, which that rifle uses 8-round end block clips rather than 5-round stripper clips that the 1903 rifle uses. Therefore, they had to make a few updates to the bandolier, more specifically with the cardboard insert. The cardboard insert for the 8-round end block and the 5-round, the 2 5-round stripper clips would come in something like this. As you can see there, I have some ammunition in this one. It's correctly packed. So from this, and under this, with the new 8-round end block clips, the bandolier would hold one 8-round end block clip and the cardboard insert in each pocket. So from this point on, since the Garand was adopted, bandoliers were issued with either stripper clips or end block clips. And this would be detailed on the card, the lot card. During World War II, the bandoliers did not change really at all, at least during the height of the war. The bandoliers were still unmarked and came with the card, and they were you could see them in a variety of different shades of olive drab. And like I said, they just changed very, very, very little throughout the war. I should also note that bandoliers would come from the factory with a safety pin. Now this would be to so you could cinch up the slack on the of the strap, and then you could also fasten the bandolier to your clothing so that it would stay in a fixed position on your body. Now, early in 1945, the bandolier was overhauled. From this point on, the card was removed, and we'd be down here. The card was removed, and the bandoliers were beginning to be marked on their exterior. And also, the cardboard insert was updated from this design to this design. This design only covers the rounds and it leaves the clip exposed. It's just so that you can grab the clip and pull it out of the bandolier quicker. So it was a better design in that aspect. Very few, if any, of these bandoliers made it to combat in World War II. This is primarily due to the mass amounts of older surplus ammunition in the older bandoliers that were in the system at the time and being shipped to the combat zones in such large quantities. These were the new things, so these were the last things that would be making it to the field. They were still pulling out of their surplus of ammunition that they had. So in 1954, the 7.62 by 5.1 NATO cartridge was adopted, and the M2 bandolier was adopted for this new NATO ammunition. Despite that, the M1909 and M1 Bandolier was produced to hold the non-NATO ammunition until the late 70s, when production of 30 caliber for the US government ceased. The M1909 or M1 Bandolier primarily from this point on was seen stateside or in the hands of our allies using our surplus 30 caliber rifles, which we were loaning to them at that time. During the rise of the height of communism and our counter-communism exercises. So in 1954, the 7.62 by 5.1 NATO cartridge was adopted, and the M14 was adopted in 1957. When the round was adopted in 1954, the M2 Bandolier was adopted to accommodate this new NATO ammunition. Said bandolier was very similar in construction to the M1909 or M1 bandolier, in the fact that it had 6 pockets and was of a very similar size to the older bandoliers. But now it was being produced in an OD7 or OG107 color, or some for color close to that. They were still made in a variety of colors. That's just how it is. But now they were marked for this 7.62 NATO ammunition, as you can see. The bandoliers were delivered to the field with 2 5-round stripper clips of 7.62 by 5.1 and a cardboard insert in each pocket. And now we start seeing something like this. This is called a mag charger. This would the bottom part would clip on to the edge of a magazine, and a loaded stripper clip, the edge of it would slide down into here, and all you'd have to do is press the top of the rounds down, and then they would load in the magazine, so you don't have to individually load the magazine round by round. 7.62 by 5.1 is issued in the M2 Bandolier to this day. However, very, very little of this ammunition in the 5-round stripper clips, that is produced like this since the M14's retirement in the mid-60s. The majority of the 7.62 by 5.1 is issued nowadays is issued in belts for the M240 series of support machine guns. So, that being said, that obviously belts are not issued in this, therefore we don't really see these a whole lot nowadays at all. Just because the little bit that we use, the 5-round stripper clips with 7.62, we use it more in belts nowadays. So in 1963, the United States military adopted a new cartridge. This was the 5.56 by 45 NATO cartridge. And in 1964, a year later, the M16 rifle was adopted. The M3 Bandolier, which is what we see here, was adopted in June 1964 to accommodate this new 5.56 by 45 cartridge and the new M16 20-round magazines. This bandolier now featured 7 pockets, which were taller than those of the previous models of bandolier, and it came in similar colors to the M2 bandolier. We still see the OD7 or the OG107 like colors. Sometimes you see these bandoliers marked, sometimes they're not. As you can see, both of these are not marked. This one, however, is dated 1974 on the back. You can find them in two materials. You can see them in a thin fabric-like material, kind of like the M2 bandolier, and this one is actually more of a thin canvas type material. That's the other type of material you see them in, but I believe this type of material is more common. So, yeah. But these bandoliers were delivered to the field with two 10-round stripper clips of 5.56 by 45 and a cardboard insert in each pocket. And they were still issued with one of these mag charges in them also. So you could load the M16 magazines. Now in the late 1960s, the US military started introducing the 30-round magazines. However, they were not seen very commonly until the early 70s. But still, regardless, because they were 30-round mags and each pocket came with 20 rounds in them, this was extremely inconvenient to those who had 30-round magazines. So something had to be done about this. But anyways, the 5.56 by 45 round was produced in M3 bandoliers until the mid to late 70s. However, you can see it until the 80s. I've seen it as late as 1983 in photographs. This is primarily just because they were using up the existing stocks of ammunition that they had in these bandoliers before they moved to a different type of bandolier, which I'm going to cover next. So they were just using up the stocks of these bandoliers until they were exhausted. So this here is the next variant of bandolier that we're going to cover. This is the M8 bandolier. So going back to the last type of bandolier, the M3, during this time, the US military adopted the 30-round M16 magazine. And like I said before, due to the fact that the previous type of bandolier came with 20 rounds of ammunition in each pocket, this was very inconvenient for the 30-round magazines. As far as loading them, loading them with the full 30 rounds rather than 20 rounds. And the magazines would also not fit in the pockets of the previous variant. So this is what they came up with. This is the M8 bandolier. This was adopted in 1975 to hold the 5.56 by 45 NATO ammunition. It was redesigned. It has 4 pockets instead of 7, like the previous design. It was made to accommodate the new 30-round magazines. If you were to remove this thread, as you can see, if you remove the thread, the pocket would become deeper so that you could hold the new magazines. It would come to the field with 3 10-round stripper clips of 5.56 and a cardboard insert in each pocket, and you still see them come with the mag charger. These bandoliers are marked on their exterior with the type of ammunition that is contained in them, and they still feature the same colors that they always have since the M2 bandolier pretty much. It's the same similar color. And it's the same material also. Now this bandolier is still in use today. So it's just, you don't really see it, exposed frequently, so to speak, or being worn on the person. But it is still issued in ammo cans in these bandoliers to this day. So here we see all the bandoliers that we just went over. Like I said, bandoliers are not commonly seen worn over the shoulder nowadays, pretty much not since Vietnam. That's pretty much kind of when that fizzled out. This is largely due to the fact that modern supply tactics kind of defeat the purpose of carrying such large quantities of ammunition at once. Uh, and there's always a vehicle around somewhere nowadays, pretty much for the most part, that there's ammunition loaded on, that they don't have to be, completely loading up with as much ammunition as they used to. Uh, so that's one factor, and also they're as convenient as they are, they're also inconvenient in the fact that they can get snagged on stuff, which that was something that was learned in Vietnam, which that can be, to be fair, that can be remedied by using the safety pin. But it can still be awkward to wear. So one thing I recommend when you're trying to find out what bandolier to use and like how to wear it is simply look at period photographs. That's probably the easiest form of research you can do. There's plenty of photographs on Google, so all you gotta do is, Google whatever impression you're doing, like their original photographs of the real guys, and just look at how they wear their bandoliers and what bandoliers they're wearing. This is all you have to do. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this helped. I hope people take from this video. Uh, so yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.